You Nation. If you are new, my name is Patricia Newbine, and I am so glad that you came into my kitchen on today because you are in for a treat. How many of you all have ever just, sometimes on the weekend, you just want a really good meal? Sometimes you're tired of eating, the same old. We do a lot of meal planning here. And so sometimes we eat a lot of, similar things. But sometimes on the weekend, you just have a taste for something. Well, I got you today, okay? Because today we are going to make Tuscan shrimp. And guess what? It is still going to be clean. I'm going to show you how to make an amazing Tuscan shrimp dinner in less than 30 minutes. And we are going to be using Eat Clean ingredients. So what you're going to need about a pound of shrimp. We're going to need about 5 to 6 cloves of garlic. The reason I might have a few more cloves is because when a few of them are small, I kind of, join them together and make them one. We're going to need a half of a yellow onion, a couple tablespoons of butter. You can either use butter or you can use ghee. For those that might not be familiar, I'm going to pull the ghee out right now so you can just see what that is. But ghee is another alternative. This is a great alternative. It's clarified butter. So this is another option for you. We got our cornstarch. We're going to need some cooking wine. Got some Parmesan cheese, some Italian herbs, some spinach, parsley, sun-dried tomatoes. All right. So with further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. And the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to cook our shrimp. So for those that may have never worked with shrimp, what you want to do first is I buy the frozen deveined shrimp. I encourage you to make sure that your shrimp already has the veins taken off. And the shrimp will still have tails. So if you've never separated shrimp, first what you want to do is you want to put your shrimp in a strainer under some cold running water because it's frozen, and then just allow it to unthaw. Once your shrimp is unthawed, you want to completely pat it dry with a napkin. And then I'm going to show you how easy it is to pull off the tails. So you're going to hold one end of the shrimp. Actually, I'm going to hold it down by the tail, a lot easier. And then just pull that tail and it should come off like that. So we're going to take a few more off so you can see that. I hold it down on the end. I squeeze and pull. Actually, if you squeeze and pull, it comes off a lot easier. There you go, perfect. Love it. Okay, so make sure you have those tails off because when you're eating your Tuscan shrimp, you don't want to be biting into no hard tails. You want all that removed. I made a meal once and I forgot and left the tails on. My husband was like, what's all this? So no, you don't want that on there. So you want to squeeze, remember, squeeze and pull. Very simple. Just gonna go through here, make sure I got all the tails off, and we do. There's one more. Squeeze, pull, one more. Alrighty, so we got all those off, and so what you wanna do next is we're gonna season our shrimp. I always season my meat, and what I'm gonna season the shrimp with today is I'm gonna use some lemon pepper. I like lemon pepper because even though I'm not an advocate of using salt, we wanna use less salt and less sugar as we eat clean. But the lemon pepper already has salt inside of it. So it has salt, it has lemon, and it has the essence of pepper. So we're just gonna sprinkle a little bit of that on our shrimp. Not too much because you're gonna get seasonings from some other places you'll see as we go along. And then I always use my hands. So of course, what's my rule number one when you come to the kitchen? Hopefully you know to wash your hands because I am such an advocate of using your hands while you're cooking. So I'm gonna take my hands and just massage the lemon pepper through the shrimp. There we get all that seasoning down in there. Fabulous. Okay, now we're gonna take our shrimp and we're gonna come over to the stove. And we are going to cook these babies. So, I'm gonna take a little bit of oil. Now for this step, you can use oil or you can use butter. I'm gonna actually use a combination. So I'm gonna show you how you can actually have your cake and eat it too. So you can still use butter, but in moderation. So for this recipe, we're gonna just take and add a couple tablespoons of butter. Okay, so we're gonna add a couple tablespoons of butter to our skillet. We have to let that melt. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I was saying how you can still have your cake and eat it too. So we can make this taste good, but we don't have to use all of the fat. So I'm just going to use a tablespoon of butter, and then I'm going to incorporate a tablespoon of grapeseed oil. There you go. Grapeseed oil being a wonderful polyunsaturated fat. So we're going to let that melt. And then we're going to cook our shrimp. Now shrimp only takes a couple minutes to cook. So what you're gonna be amazed how fast it cooks. This is a very quick meal. So see the little bubbles forming? Now as the bubbles form, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put our shrimp in there. Make sure we get all those tails out of there. By the way, those wonderful tails that come off of the shrimp, we can put those in a container, a sealed glass container, and put those in the freezer, and they can be used at another time for a seafood broth. No, we don't waste anything in our kitchen, okay? So we take those tails and put them in the freezer, and I can show you in another video how you can make a wonderful base for broth. So watch, see the tails is already, yep, well, look at that. Tail tried to get past me. Can you smell going in there? You see they're starting to turn pink. It'll only take like a couple minutes on each side. So as you see it turning, because you do not want your shrimp to be hard. Tough shrimp will ruin the recipe. So you want to let that go for a couple minutes. And as it turns pink, then you turn it over. All right, and after we get that last batch of shrimp done, we're going to go ahead and turn off the fire. And we're going to transfer our shrimp over to another dish. Don't worry about all that burnt that you see on the bottom. You're going to see how that is going to be the essence of an amazing sauce coming up. You will see. So I turned off the fire. Transfer all the shrimp over here. Shrimp is such an amazing meat source too for an eat clean meal because it's so versatile. You can take this out on the grill. You can grill it. You can bake it. You can boil it. You can broil it. There's just so much that you can do. What I never do is we don't encourage frying, deep frying. So we just do a little bit of oil like so. We're going to cover this up. Right, that's off to the side. And now what we're going to do with this same oil, we're going to be adding our onion. We're going to be adding our onion and our garlic. I'm going to cut up that half of an onion. Now you can use any onion that you choose. I just happen to be using what's in season here. And this is a yellow onion. Vidalia sweet onions are also common right now in the spring. But if you prefer the taste of a red onion, that is fine. If you don't ever want to get stumbled by little ingredients, never, please don't ever run to the store for an onion. If the recipe calls for white onion and all you have a red, a yellow, use what you have. An onion is an onion is an onion. What I love about it too is all these ingredients that we're using are all healthy, wonderful ingredients. And there are so many things that you can add into a recipe or take away. This recipe can also be vegan friendly. It can be vegetarian friendly, paleo, keto, Whole30. If you want to make this recipe vegan, I would encourage you to take asparagus and mushrooms in place of the shrimp. So these recipes can definitely be adapted to whatever your food style is. So we're going to take the onions. I'm going to go ahead and add that back into the skillet. Now let's get our garlic ready. I encourage people to get a garlic press because it just really gets all the juices and the wonderfulness out of your garlic. When I first started, I used to cut up my garlic and it just did not produce enough flavor. So the garlic press will do the trick. So we're going to take the onions. I'm going to go ahead and put that into the skillet. We're going to allow those onions. Make sure we got it all cut up good there. So I'm going to turn the stove on to a medium low. And we're going to take those onions and we're going to saute them until they become slightly translucent. And sometimes if you look like your skillet might look a little bit too dry, you can always add a little bit of oil. I think I'm gonna just let it go for now. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add the garlic. Press that garlic on through there. Alright. Garlic just gives so much flavor to food. So, you know, no matter what a recipe says, I personally always use more garlic than a recipe requires. Again, when you're cooking, you gotta go by your personal taste. If I'm putting something in there and you don't have an acquired taste for that, obviously just leave it out. You might prefer to just use garlic powder, but I just love using everything that is real and natural. And you put the garlic in there. One thing about the garlic, we put it last because it only takes about 30 seconds. I'm gonna add just a little bit of oil because it's just looking a little bit dry. So maybe about half a tablespoon. I use grapeseed or olive oil. Stir that garlic around for about 30 seconds. And see the onions are starting to get translucent. That means clear. As the onions start to look a lot more clear. And then we are going to add in our sun-dried tomatoes. I find these sun-dried tomatoes in a package like this. You might want to make sun-dried tomatoes. They're so simple to make. You just take Roma tomatoes or any tomatoes, you slice them, thin slice, and just stick them in your oven on like 400, 450. Okay, I'm going to turn my stove off because I see we have to actually cut these sun-dried tomatoes. So we're going to have to cut these. Gather them like so. Don't worry about the color. They're amazing. So we're going to cut these up. And even though I use sun-dried tomatoes because they bring a nice pungent aroma and flavor, I always like to add in some fresh tomato. So I am going to cut up these and then I'm going to cut up a fresh Roma tomato because I like to add it for that extra. Okay, so let's move this part. We're going to go ahead and put the sun-dried tomatoes in with the onions and the garlic, and we're going to go ahead and add the real tomatoes because that is going to add and bring a broth. And we're going to stir that around, turning our setting down to a medium low. Stir that around like such for a couple minutes. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn that off. Just getting that little mixed in there a couple minutes, 1 to 2 minutes max. Then we're going to turn this off and we're going to add our spinach. So for the spinach, we only need for the spinach to just wilt. So I love fresh spinach. You might have the spinach that comes in the container that's already bagged. If you have that, you can just go ahead and drop it in. But I like to buy the spinach that comes fresh because I believe that it has a few more nutrients for us because it's a little fresher. So we're going to cut up our spinach. Then we're going to add our spinach into this dish. I know it appears to be a lot, but you will see that spinach will evaporate. Turn that down to medium low. And we're going to just stir that just until the spinach begins to wilt. Sauteed the vegetables together. We're going to take a half a cup of the white wine and we're actually going to reduce the mixture by half, and we're going to take the wine and it's going to help us to scrape all of that goodness off of the bottom of the skillet. I told you we're going to use it. Don't worry, no panic. So we're gonna let that scrape off of the bottom, and we're gonna let that reduce to half. And that might take, it might take 2-3 minutes. Maybe it might take 5 minutes actually. So we're gonna skip. Make sure you get all of that off the bottom. You wanna just really scrape it. Because I know you thought those were scraps, but oh no, that is gonna add the most wonderful flavor to our Tuscan shrimp. Okay, and once that wine sauce is reduced by half, meaning that when you put the liquid in there, you're gonna let it evaporate down a little bit. That's allowing the wine, some of it to cook off and to cook in. Then we're gonna add our spinach. And we're just gonna allow that to wilt. So it'll take a couple seconds. Wilt. I know it looks like a lot when you first put it in, but as you stir it around, it will wilt very quickly. Believe it or not, we are almost done. Okay, and now the spinach is wilted, we're gonna go ahead and add in our half and half. Again, you could use coconut milk, you can use almond milk, any type of substitution that you want. So we're adding in I'm using half and half, and then I'm gonna add in the cheese. Parmesan cheese, again, you can use vegan cheese. There's lots of alternatives that you can use. I'm gonna just turn that on medium, stir that around just a bit. And I'm gonna make like a little well in the center. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a teaspoon of cornstarch, and I'm gonna blend that teaspoon in with about a tablespoon of water. Kind of making like a little slurry, but what this is it's gonna cause the sauce to thicken. So we put those together, and then we're gonna whisk that together like so. Then we're gonna add that into our sauce, right there in the middle. And we're gonna stir it up. Oh, look at that, doesn't it look nice? And at this point, while our cheese is melting and our sauce is thickening, I would go ahead and add some of my Italian seasoning in there. I like to use the Italian seasoning because it has rosemary, it's got sage, basil, thyme, marjoram. It's got so many spices all together, so I'm gonna put a little bit of that. Because it is Tuscan chicken after all, right? I'm sorry, we're not doing chicken. I just made Tuscan chicken last week. We're doing Tuscan shrimp, okay? So it is Tuscan shrimp after all. So we're gonna add our Italian seasoning. We're gonna stir that around and just give that sauce just a moment to thicken up. But never walk away, you wanna keep stirring. And at this point, if you wanted to season with salt and pepper, you could do that. I'm actually not going to use any pepper because I put pepper in the lemon pepper. There's lemon pepper in the shrimp. So when we put the shrimp in, that seasoning will come off. So I'm not going to do that. But remember, you're cooking for you. So if you want that flavor, go for it. All right. And so as our sauce has thickened, we're going to go ahead and add that shrimp back in. So we're going to take this shrimp. Put it back into the pot. Let's get that blended on in there. And there you have it. Very, very simple recipe. Tuscan shrimp. Voila! Now you could have improvised with, instead of using spinach, if you don't have spinach, remember, don't run to the store. You could use kale. You could grab your mixed vegetables, you know, the mixed vegetable, the lettuce package, the mixed leaves. You could throw some of those in there. You can just, you could improvise. But there we have it. That's pretty much it. Now, if you want on the end, what I would do is I'll cut up and put a little bit of parsley, just because it adds a very beautiful presentation. And then this can be served with, for my family still, they like the fettuccine noodles. So I would serve this with the fettuccine noodles. And those are very simple to make. The instructions are on the box, and basically you're just gonna boil. But for myself, I'll show you what I'm gonna be having it with. So let's add a little bit of parsley. And that's for presentation, so sprinkle that parsley on top. Lovely, does that look good? Ooh, yummy. And you see it's getting thick with that cornstarch slurry we put in there. And there you have it. All right, so now we're going to serve this. And for my family, I'm gonna give them fettuccine noodles, but I promise you I'll show you what I like. So I went in my refrigerator because we are advocates of using leftovers, and I have some black rice and some quinoa. So I am not going to use the white pasta, but I'm going to put mine over some black rice. Black rice there. And some people might like quinoa. So I'm gonna put some quinoa here. Quinoa is full of protein. And it's actually very high calorie, but it's a lot of protein. So I'm just gonna do that amount there. And then let's serve it. Let's see what this tastes like. Woo! Very saucy. Okay, bon appetit. Let's see what this tastes like, okay? I love quinoa because I can use it as my rice replacement. Anything you eat white rice on, you can use quinoa, or you can use the black rice. So let's taste it. Oh, it's still hot, let's see. Delicious. And I didn't even have to go to an expensive restaurant. You can make this in your kitchen with high quality, clean ingredients, and it's friendly for anybody. So if you enjoyed what you saw today, I encourage you to hit that share button and share this video with some friends that may be interested in seeing more things like this. Also, please make sure that you hit that bell and turn on the notifications and hit the like so that we can create a lot more content just like this. We are very excited about bringing more content like this to you. Thanks for joining us, and I hope to see you real soon.